Hey guys, I thought this week we would do something a little bit different. I thought it'd be fun to try out a Q&A session, some reflections on this video series so far. I asked my friends to think of a couple of questions that they wanted to ask me or they're curious about, and I would answer it. So hang out a little bit and let me show you guys a little bit about myself.
Michelle asks, how did you get into making your own cocktails?
So I always enjoyed cocktails. There's some pretty good cocktail bars in San Jose, but when the lockdown happened, I started just watching these YouTubers like Steve the Bartender, The Educated Barfly, and I went to Total Wine and I picked up a bottle, I think, of sweet vermouth. I've always had whiskey on me. I've always been a whiskey drinker, but I was like, let me try to make a Manhattan. And so the Manhattan, which is a pretty simple drink, became my first ever special cocktail. I made old fashions before, pretty straightforward. First video of the series, hopefully you guys saw that. But Manhattan ended up being my first new cocktail. And from there, it just opened up the floodgates. I spent an entire lockdown making and experimenting drinks.
Justin asks, how did you go about creating your own cocktails?
So I think that was actually one of the important things about this video series, about the structure of how I put the episodes together. It's really important to understand the construction of a basic cocktail or a classic cocktail. And if you really understand the components of a cocktail, then you can substitute things in. Like, if you know there's a citrus element, you can use lemon or lime or both, or orange juice. Sweetening elements, you can use maple syrup, honey, any kind of sweetening element. You can even use a liqueur if it's sweet enough. And in the base spirit, you can always swap out different base spirits. So there's just ways to just put your own spin on anything, and that's why it's important to learn like basic recipes and then experiment, have fun.
John asks, what are your go-to drinks for non-drinkers?
So I have a couple friends, including my girlfriend, who don't drink, and what I end up going towards is just tea-based drinks. So the thing about alcohol is it makes it complex, and it makes it more interesting to come back to. If there was no bitterness, it would just be sweet, tart, just straightforward, which is like fruit juice. But alcohol adds complexity. Well, tea can also add complexity. You can use tea because it has like herbal essence to it. Jasmine. I've used oolong, green tea. I'm not sure I'm saying it right, but pu'er. There's like the smoky Asian tea, lapsang souchong. That's what it is. There's a smoky. I'm probably saying it wrong, by the way. My producer's laughing at me right now. AKA Ange. It has a smoky aroma, so you can imitate scotch with it. There's ways to use tea almost in place of alcohol. So that's what I would do.
John asks, what was the worst drink you ever made and why?
So last season on Cocktail Notes, I created this drink for my friend Justin. Tried to combine like a Bloody Mary and a martini into one drink. Make it like a refined version of that. And I didn't have Tabasco sauce at the time because Bloody Marys have Tabasco. So I used the pickling liquid of these pickled peppers in my fridge, and it just made the drink taste like vinegar. It was disgusting. The drink overall wasn't terrible, but I literally had 2 sips. And, luckily when I made him the real version, I actually used Tabasco and he enjoyed it. He thoroughly enjoyed it. But that would be probably the most off-putting drink I've made.
John asks, if you were on death row, what would you have for your last drink?
Probably something really strong. I might just drink something very simple and neat. I just drink probably a neat whiskey, probably something super rare, that's old, maybe like Pappy Van Winkle bourbon. That's like a really popular one, and it's really hard to come by. I don't know, something super rare, maybe like 27-year-old Scotch. Probably not mixed. I don't think I would make a cocktail. Yeah.
Ange asks, what else do you do outside of making cocktails?
So I've been doing jiu-jitsu for a couple of years. I've been recently getting back into doing a lot of jiu-jitsu. It's actually been great. It's been helping me feel healthy. Shout out to One World Jiu-Jitsu and Mike. It's my other curious exploration besides making drinks and music and cooking. And the training I do, which is like 2 or 3 days a week, has helped me be healthy and not drink as much, and it's been kind of cool.
Ange asks, what is a recent movie that you've enjoyed?
So at the time of filming this, The Batman just came out, and I just watched that. I thought it was a great movie, especially now that I'm trying to make videos, and I've just started noticing like the lighting in that movie is amazing, and just these little details that the cinematographer really thinks about. I'm starting to hopefully think about too as I'm watching these movies. And the other thing is I'm a huge DC Comics reader, so, or at least I used to be more so, and I thought that was a good representation of what Batman should be like. And here's a little bit of a controversial opinion. I like this movie way better than the Nolan movies, and I didn't think the Nolan movies were that great. But you can add me in the comments.
Ange asks, what advice would you have given your 20-year-old self?
That's a good question. I think it's just not to worry. I think what's most important is, and this is what I tell my students too, is to work hard, have a good heart, and and just trust the process. I think it's important to do something you care about and just work hard. Just trust yourself. I think that's what I told myself at 20. I think at that age, there's a lot of insecurity, and you never know what's going to happen, especially after college and all that. But I would have just told myself just to trust yourself, work hard, you'll be okay. So this video series has been really fun to make. Luckily for you guys, this is about halfway through the season, so we still got a bit of episodes left. But I really have learned a lot just about this whole video process thing, and my inspirations are always Anthony Bourdain's show, Good Eats, with Alton Brown. A lot of PBS shows. I love America's Test Kitchen, Mind of a Chef. So I thought, in making this, I wanted to go in that direction. I want to also thank my friends who gave me questions. Michelle, she actually designed the logo for Cocktail Nuts too. She's a very talented artist, and she's in marketing, I think. My friend John, he's like one of my oldest friends from high school. Justin, super talented musician, one of my close friends too. Danielle and Risa, two creative minds who helping with lighting and just these little details that, because they're more experienced in the video making world and content producing world, they gave me a lot of insight on what I could do. And of course, my lovely girlfriend Ange for supporting me and keeping it real with me, which I like sometimes. So this is about halfway through the season. I hope you guys have been enjoying it so far. Thank you guys for joining me, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode of Cocktail Notes. Cheers.